This morning, the fate of a sweeping and potentially historic piece of legislation is now in the hands of the Senate after the House approved the Equality Act. It's a massive bill that would extend federal anti-discrimination protections to the LGBTQ community by making it illegal to discriminate against somebody based on their gender identity and sexual orientation. This is a bill Congress has tried to pass in some form for nearly half a century. It's an idea so old that the two lawmakers who originally introduced it have died since then. The House most recently passed it in May of 2019, but Republicans who controlled the Senate then never brought it up for a vote. It's all happening as more American adults, 5.6%, identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or not heterosexual. And the number is even higher for Gen Z, people born between 1997 and 2002. About 1 in 6 of those Americans consider themselves LGBTQ. And it's also happening as more anti-trans rhetoric makes headlines. CPAC, which we talked about earlier, for example, has on their agenda this weekend a meeting to discuss, quote, protecting women's sports from transgender athletes. Bills are being introduced and advanced at the state level about transgender youth, too. In 16 states, there are bills that would limit health care access for trans people under the age of 18. And some state legislatures are also targeting sports. At least 24 states are considering bills to stop certain transgender students from being a part of their high school and college athletics programs. Joining me now, two athletes who are transgender at the center of different ongoing legal battles, represented by the ACLU, who connected us with both of you. So welcome, Lindsay Hecox and Andrea Yearwood. Good morning to you.
Hello there, Hallie. Thank you for having us on.
Thanks for being on. So, Andrea, let me start with you. And I want to talk a little bit more about what is at stake here, because if passed, many of these states would ban trans women athletes from being able to compete. You were able to compete all through high school. What did it mean to you to be able to run your high school career with women?
I think it meant everything to me to be able to run, as a gender with which I identify, and to run as who I know I am. I think it made all the difference. And I was able to just be myself in a space with which I felt comfortable and with which I just felt like I could succeed in my most authentic self.
Let's keep that conversation up about the stakes, because, Lindsay, in Idaho, this is the law. What did it feel like when the law passed banning you from potentially ever being on a women's cross-country team?
Yeah, I was pretty frustrated and annoyed, but honestly, ever since I heard about it introduced as a bill, I was a little expecting of this result. Nonetheless, I'm still going to fight this as hard as I can, but I'm honestly not as upset as you might think, maybe just because I've gotten used to this kind of discrimination.
You talk about wanting to fight this. You decided to sue the state for the chance to be on a women's team. What motivated you to get the courts involved?
Yeah, I was just feeling overwhelmed at the amount of anti-LGBT discrimination, specifically here in Idaho. And I wanted a chance to try out. I don't want to have to sit on the sidelines and be tryout process just because of a law. They should give me a chance to see if I'm good enough for the team.
Andrea, you have a bit of a different legal situation. Your case is kind of unique because it was cisgender athletes who sued Connecticut because you were competing. That's how you got involved. And I know that you faced hate from a lot of different arenas, online, at meets. We now, as we explained in the introduction, have more and more Americans who are identifying as transgender as generations go on. What is your message to younger trans athletes, Andrea, who are staring down these bills?
My message would be to continue to remember what you're doing this for. And I know that a lot of the hate and all of the backlash can get into people's heads. It can really influence your thinking a lot of the times and really discourage some. But I think that just remember, why you're fighting for what you're fighting for, and just to also know that you have such a huge support system within the transgender community, and not only that, but in the LGBTQ community as a whole. So just to remember that, why you're doing this, and just know that you have such a huge support system behind you.
Have you personally felt those moments of discouragement, and how did you get past that?
Yes, a lot of the times I did have people, saying certain things, but I think a way in which I, dealt with it was, again, like my support system and having my teammates, my friends, family, and even my immediate community at school, just having them, all of them be there for me constantly, having them, pick my head up when things got tough, and just having people to talk to a lot of times really helped me, I guess, not focus on all the negative and just really, continue to focus on why I'm running and why I'm here on the track team.
Yeah. And Lindsay, I wonder if you focus or try to, at least on the support. A federal judge is actually now trying to block that law in Idaho, writing, quote, "It is not just the constitutional rights of transgender girls and women athletes at issue, but the constitutional rights of every girl and woman athlete in Idaho." There are people in government who are on the other side of these bills, and in your case, the law. What does it mean to you to have that kind of support?
I'm very grateful for the support I've gotten. I ultimately feel like this is going to get repealed, and we're just in the process of doing that. On the other side, I can understand what they're thinking, but ultimately, I'm not at any advantage. I think there would be tons and tons of trans women in every single sport if we were really at some fundamental advantage, but that is not true. Olympics still have not seen any trans women competing in events. So I'll just have to keep fighting and do what I know is right. And eventually we'll get that result that I'm hoping for.
Lindsay Hecox, Andrea Yearwood, thank you to both of you for joining us and for sharing your stories here on the show. We appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.